Hi guys, just doing a review for The Mist, directed by Frank Darabont, who made season 2 of The Walking Dead, but I guess he got fired, or did he decide to leave because of the direction the show was going? Like he didn't really like it, and I don't really blame him since season 3 is like my least favorite season of The Walking Dead. I know a lot of people like it, but I wasn't one of them. I mean, there is some good moments, but after rewatching this movie, oh my god, it could have been way better. Hell, it could have been probably better than how the comic did the storyline. Because to me, that's like the best thing the franchise ever did. Like the prison storyline in the comic, perfection, man. So dark and everything, and this movie is pretty dark, and it kind of makes you question things as well. Yeah, definitely a lot of great acting in this movie as well. And it's kind of cool that they had some of the Walking Dead cast in this movie. Yeah, like you got Andrea, the Andrea actress. You got Dale. You got Carol. Basically, all three of them, which is cool. Then you basically got the guy from Days Gone who plays as the main character in it, and who was actually the guy in the tank in the first episode of The Walking Dead. Who Rick nearly gets bitten by, but shoots it in the face. And I think they made a web series where you actually get to see the full story of how he dies and everything, and how he ends up in that tank. But yeah, basically he's in this movie as well. Yeah. Sadly, they don't really do much of him. And also, just letting you know, obviously there's going to be spoilers because this movie is so old. It's like 2007, so yeah, spoilers. But if you've watched it, then well, if you haven't watched it, you need to go watch it now. Like it's such a good movie. But other than that, yeah, because basically it has a huge, such a twisted ending. I mean, the endings are really dark, but they made it very twisted as well. And oh my god, when you see it, and if you've already watched the movie, then you understand. Man, and just the whole vibe of the whole movie anyway. It's crazy. Yeah, the things that happen in that movie. So basically, it starts off as just seems like it's just a normal town. You see this guy who I think was Punisher one time, so I'm just gonna call him Punisher for the whole review. So Punisher basically has a family. He's basically an artist, but then like some kind of storm or something happens, and it kind of hits his car and a part of his house, and his art gets destroyed. And then also the power goes out, so he kind of decides to go into town to see what he can do, and then that's when he runs into the colonel. I don't even know, the police captain from what's the show called again? Oh my god, I'm so bad. Oh, because it's that comedy show. I just can't really remember. Damn it. But basically, he talks to this guy who needs help to go into town because I think does his car get destroyed? Yeah, he basically rides him into town. Yeah, so I got that bit mixed up. But yeah, but yeah. When they get into town, they end up in this mall where I guess the whole film's going to be set. So it's a movie what's set in one location basically. But it's probably one of the best movies that is set in one locations ever. Yeah, I mean there's The Purge, and then there's this man. Like wow, I mean there is a few other movies that are really good that's in one location, but yeah, this one like is definitely up. It's definitely up there. Yeah, it's really good. Because man, it just starts off as normal. People just shopping in the mall, but then the mist starts to come, and you just see Dale just make it in before things get really bad. And he has like blood on his nose and everything, saying not to go outside. And then when you see someone go outside and not really believing what's happening, he ends up screaming or possibly dead. People are just scared to go outside after seeing that. So they just stay inside. Everyone who basically made it inside, they stay inside. I guess these truck drivers or whatever, they decide to maybe start the generator, and they make their youngest one go outside. But I guess the Punisher, our main character, tells him not to do that. He also has a son, by the way, so he's trying to look after his son while going through all this. His wife was still at home when all this happened, so yeah, he has no idea what's going on with his wife for the whole movie. But yeah, basically, since he knows what could be out there, because he actually heard something too, like he tells them not to open the door, but they don't listen to him. They just think he's crazy, and I don't know why they're getting like just because he has a better job than them. Like he's not better than them, and he'd even say that. Like there is some of those kind of characters in this movie, so to a degree, like the characters do feel real, like because there would be a varied amount of characters that would probably be in that store that would react different to this situation, and basically the oh man, I don't even know what to call him. I didn't say Colonel because I knew him as like the Colonel in the Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer movie. I can't remember if he was in the first one, probably not. But there's also that cop show, that cop comedy show, which I forgot the name. You know the one with Terry Crews. Man, I'm so bad. But yeah, he basically doesn't really believe it, like what's actually going on, because basically the Punisher guy, when he, because basically when they don't listen to him, like some tentacle thing actually gets in and grabs the kid because he knew that the kid was going to be in danger if they opened the door, and he ended up being in danger, pulling him in, and the other guys are just standing there. Like they had all that talk, but then when something actually happens, they do nothing. They just become cowards. To be honest, I don't even know what I'd do in that situation, but literally watching someone die, man, not even trying to do something because even like one of the workers, basically the guy from Captain America, the guy with the glasses from who's in Hydra. Oh, I forgot his name, so yeah, you know the one who's beside Red Skull. Like he's really good in this movie. Like he was my favorite character. And it kind of sucks that he doesn't really make it out in this movie. He gets killed at the end basically when they're trying to escape, which we find out that's actually a bad move. But with what was happening at the end, which we'll get to, but yeah, he basically helps out the Punisher guy, and but sadly they're not because he's trying to save the kid, but things get too bad, and they basically have to let him go because it gets too late at that point. But he's able to like cut, basically a part of the tentacle from whatever this thing is, and at least there's evidence if people question him. Because at first he didn't want to tell anyone, but then they started to realize that things are getting too real, so they decided to tell the Colonel guy first. He definitely doesn't believe it. He thinks they're crazy, and he just feels like they're getting back on him because something that I guess the Punisher guy did, and also the truck drivers, I guess, against that guy. But he's not really taking it serious because in that situation, would you really take serious that there's actually a flipping squid or whatever, a tentacle that just tried to that basically killed someone anyway? Yeah, because man, when it was grabbing the kid, like it was so brutal because just by touching it, like it was taking off like whole skin, man. Like oh my god, such a brutal death. But they're able to like chop off. Well, the Punisher guy is able to chop off like a bit of it, while the Hydra guy basically shuts the doors, and basically that kid died because of the truck driver guys. Yeah, they kind of blames them, and like I said, he's trying to talk to the Colonel guy, but he's not believing him. He tries to show him, but he doesn't want to go, and he starts saying assault because he's trying to take him to the squid tentacle thing. But I guess the manager goes instead. He sees it, and he basically tries to make people believe it as well. But then he's still not listening. So what ends up happening is that the Colonel guy ends up leaving with a group of people, and I guess one of the characters wanted to put strength on one of the guys, the biker guy, I guess, to see how far they get. But then when the string starts coming back, like there's blood on it, and then you just see like half the biker guy's body, like his legs, and that's really all that's left, and everyone just freaks out. And then later on, just things get worse where bugs start coming to the windows. Like oh my god, like they look small, but then because basically what they decide to do is like stack up because the window like they could easily break through, and a part of the window is already broken, so they decide to stack a dog food, like a sack of dog food on the windows, so it can't get through. But I don't know if there was enough because they don't really fully stack it, and eventually like they break inside. Then there's this crazy lady who's saying like there's some kind of prophecy and why this is happening. Like people have to die from some sacrifice or something like that, and there would be that kind of person in this situation. It's definitely believable because you've seen these kind of people possibly on movies or actually in real life saying that there's going to be like God's wrath and stuff, like, you know. But then it actually gets to a point where, wait, is she right? But then I guess near the end you kind of find out the full story. It's like some kind of Stranger Things situation. Yeah, which I'll get to. Because there was like a one of the military guys who went inside, but then he went back out, and we don't really see him until they try to go outside to get some supplies or something. And when they find him, he's basically all webbed up because there's these spiders that have like acid webs, and they kind of lay babies inside this cop guy as well. And he kind of reveals that it's all our fault, which kind of reveals that it's the military's fault why all this happened. Yeah. I guess you could say it's because of a scientist who ends up killing himself because the Days Gone guy basically tells him that when they because when the crazy lady basically gets more power, like she gets more followers believing in her, and that they have to sacrifice people, so stab him and then like take him outside to feed to the monsters, so they'll leave him alone. Yeah, like things get that crazy, like this movie, man. Because the Days Gone guy, basically, there's this girl that he liked that was working in the place, but when the bugs attack, she kind of gets killed. Like her body gets swollen up from one of the bugs that bite her, and in that moment, he's just like destroyed. Like just things get crazy as the movie goes on. Like it gets more intense and more intense as the movie goes on, and that's when you're watching a good movie. Like you're just on the edge of your seat, man. And just some of the situations they find themselves in, and some of the debates. It's just, man, it's crazy. And the way how they did this movie, man, it makes me think like if Frank Darabont actually stayed and made season 3 and 4, I feel like he probably would have made the comic book storyline of the prison way better than how I guess the director Scott Gimple, who made I guess my favorite season. I mean, he made season 6, and that's probably the best thing he ever did. Season 4 and 5, I know a lot of people love those seasons, but I don't think they're that good. They're great seasons, but they're not that good because to me, Frank Darabont, he would have did a way better job. And after we watching this movie, like, man, some of the character stuff he could have did, man, because we got some crazy character stuff in the comics, and I just feel like he could do it even better. Like he could have did it even better with some of the stuff we see. Just the way how someone acts a certain way, but then when things get really bad, they completely change into something else. Just that kind of thing. Because that actually happens to Carol in the comic, where she just seems like a normal mom who's just caring for her daughter, but then when things get really bad, she just goes crazy, man. She goes so crazy to the point where she's feeding herself to a walker by the end of her character in the comic. Like, my god. And that's for Carol in this. I guess basically she wants to try and find her kids, which, what would you want to do in that situation? Like, you'd do anything to save your kids, so you'd just go out anyway. And I feel like the main character would have did the same thing if his wife and the son was basically out there and he wasn't with them. Like, he probably would have did the same thing I went with Cowell, and maybe things would have went differently because of how, the movie actually ends, which we'll get to, man. But yeah, because earlier on, she's the one who decides to leave, and I'm kind of shocked that she actually survives at the end. Like, damn. And it makes me think, like, the Colonel guy, did he survive too? But from what happened to the biker guy and those kind of all together, maybe not, because we don't really see him at the end, because they show the Cowell actor, and I think maybe some of the people from the store who, stayed but became monsters because of that crazy lady with that, crazy preaching about sacrifice and stuff, and just how far things go. When they sacrificed the Days Gone guy, and that giant monster just picks him up and eats him. Like, man, some of that stuff, man, it's crazy. And Andrea actor, I liked her in this movie. I know a lot of people don't really like her character in The Walking Dead, but I liked her in this movie, and I did like her in the earlier seasons, like season 1 and 2. Season 3 is when they completely ruined her. Like, there was no way to make her a great character at that point, and it just sucks because the comic book version was so good, and they ruined it in the TV show, and they kind of gave, I've already said this before, but a lot of her character to Michonne. Yeah, that's why Michonne's completely different than how she is in the comic. I mean, when it comes to being a good survivor, I guess they got that both in check and being good with the katana and stuff. But when it comes to their actual character, they're completely different. Yeah. I mean, she goes into the show as the Michonne we know, but then she becomes something else. And I mean, I've already talked about this before, so back to the movie. Yeah. But yeah, I liked her in this movie. She was a good character. But it was mainly the Hydra guy that I liked the most because he was the one who knew how to use a gun. And it's weird that it's not Andrew instead, it's actually the Hydra guy. Yeah. So that was cool. Because he actually ends up shooting like the bugs and the big bug that gets inside and basically eats someone. Yeah. He was the MVP, man. And when the crazy lady gets to the point where she's going to sacrifice the Punisher kid's boy, he shoots her in the face, and then that's when they try to escape. Yeah. And then things just go downhill from there. Like, the Hydra guy gets taken by the big monster and eaten. Some of the other characters get killed by the spiders. And I guess the remaining ones, like Andrea, Dale, the Punisher guy, and this other old lady, who, there was a scene where she killed, like, one of the spiders with a flamethrower. Well, those kind of sprays, but, you put, like, a lighter on it and it kills them. Yeah. I mean, they're able to make it to like the main character's car, like his car. I guess they get far, but when they see like this massive titan of a monster surrounded by birds, it's like we're not making out of this, and when they run out of gas. I mean, at this point, they get the gun from the Hydra guy anyway, so they basically think like we have to kill ourselves, don't we? And man, just getting to that realization and having to kill his own son and stuff. Yeah, it's a sad ending because seeing his reaction afterwards when he kills him. Yeah, because basically there's only enough bullets to kill basically the old people, Andrea, and his son. Like there's only 4 bullets when there's like 5 of them because he's the only one who won't be able to get killed. Like he won't be able to kill himself afterwards. And just seeing his reaction afterwards when he has to kill all of them, including his son, he's just destroyed. And also earlier, like having to see his wife dead because he goes home, but she's basically dead. It was too late for her. Yeah, just those last moments were so sad. Yeah, for the main character, just seeing him destroyed, just yelling and he's just like in so much pain for what he had to do, and then he's just ready to die at that point. I mean, yeah, he just goes out and just says, "Come on, kill me," basically, like in Predator, but a more sad version. Then you see, it sounds like you hear the monster, but it sounds like it's dying because basically, oh man, the twist, the military arrives, yeah, and then you actually see the characters who survive. Like Carol, she survived. She found her kids. It seems like some of the people from the store, like they survived, and they became monsters as well. So damn. Then you just see him screaming afterwards, and the soldiers are just confused. But he basically killed his family. Well, he basically killed his son and those people for nothing because the military literally arrived at the same time he killed them, which is just so messed up. If he would just wait like a few minutes longer, they would have been saved. But he's gonna have so much regret, man. That's just that's such a messed up ending. Like it's one of the most messed up endings that I've never forgotten. Because I watched this back in the day, back when I was in high school, like early high school, and still from that ending, I was just like, oh, I'm never gonna forget this, and I never did. And that's what made me kind of want to rewatch it and know that it was by Frank Darabont as well, who made like the earlier seasons of The Walking Dead. Because season 2 of The Walking Dead is still like one of my favorites. It has the best character moments in the whole franchise. Yeah, and it kind of shows how good he is at writing great characters. Because he also made The Green Mile as well, another great movie from Tom Hanks and the late Clark Duncan, rest in peace. Yeah, he's just so good at writing characters, man. Yeah, it just sucks he didn't really stay with The Walking Dead. Yeah, But because of the differences, he didn't want to stay, I guess. I think that's how it went, but yeah. And yeah. So basically, this whole situation happened because they was trying to open like a different dimension, like in Stranger Things, but they ended up releasing these monsters, just like in Stranger Things. So basically, this was the Stranger Things before Stranger Things, but more darker, I guess. Yeah. Just the way how it ends as well. Damn. I hope Stranger Things doesn't end like that, because Jesus. Like, it's got to that point where the monsters are actually able to go into the real world. And I just wonder how they're going to end the final season. Which, I'll make a video on that in the future when we get a trailer and stuff, and how I think things are going to go in the final season. Who will live and who will die. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, this is such a great movie. Definitely worth the watch. Or the rewatch if you haven't watched it in years. It's definitely been years for me, but yeah. Hope you enjoyed the review. I appreciate if you can give a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.